Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside Scoop. My name is Dan, and I'm the primary content creator here on I Feel Like Learning. Inside Scoop is a series where I'll be talking to students in a wide variety of majors to see what it's really like to be enrolled in their specific major programs. We'll also discuss the career opportunities that these students have after graduating. Welcome to Inside Scoop. Hey everyone. So today we're talking to another familiar voice that you guys might know, Evan. Hey Evan, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Yeah, so last week you guys heard from Anna, who is one of the co-hosts on the I Feel Like podcast. This week we're hearing from our other co-host, Evan, another college student in a different major. So I'm really here for this kind of cross-platform banter that we got going on right
We already
now.
get that cross-platform banter in the podcast.
Yeah, well, now we're bringing it to I Feel Like Learning. But
Yeah.
anyway, if you guys want to check out our podcast, it's me, Anna, and Evan. We're the main hosts, and right now we're really focusing on giving advice for college students, specifically and young adults in general. And it's just a nice way to kind of get away from some of these like educational or learning topics. So if you want to maybe enjoy a new show or series of entertainment, check out our podcast. I Feel Like Podcast. You can find the link in the description below. But for what we're here for today, Evan is another college student, just like Anna, myself, and everyone else that you've heard from so far on the show. And he's here today on Inside Scoop to talk all about his major. So I guess just to start off, Evan, what major are you?
I'm a computer science major.
First one of those that we've had. Very nice. So far, all we've had was humanities for the most part. So while interesting, this is the first kind of science like STEM major other than my own
Yourself,
video that I did.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of a nice bring it back to a familiar topic for me. So just to start out, what attracted you to choosing this major?
Okay, well, maybe I should say that I'm sure it depends on the school. Um, and then I'm also going to say that there's probably so many different majors related to computer science that I would keep in mind when I'm speaking. Because even though I was maybe interested in one specific kind of aspect of that, always be aware of like what colleges have to offer and maybe if you're interested in something specific. So yeah, but I kind of went for a more, I don't want to say general because what attracted me was more of the software development. And so I didn't go with a hardware track. I didn't go with a security track and I didn't go with a software engineer track. I just kind of went for a more, I hate saying general, but that's what I'll say. I guess more general, just coding, learning languages, learning the kind of math behind it, learning all that. So what attracted me to that was kind of, I guess, things I did before coming to college. And I'm sure other people have said this too, like, don't just join a club for your resume, but like also for the fact of trying to figure out what you want to do. Because when you go to college, if you decide to do that, it's kind of helpful to know what you want to do before getting here and not having to switch majors or anything like that.
Yeah, Evan's one of the lucky ones out of him, Anna, and myself. He's the only one who didn't switch majors.
Yeah.
So good job.
Because definitely just in high school, doing things like a robotics club and learning to code and maybe taking a class on it definitely made me realize that it was fun and that I wanted to continue with it.
Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense. I feel
yeah.
like a lot of what people have said too is a pattern that's emerged is just maybe, oh, I'm not sure if this is necessarily set in stone. This is like what I want to do for my career, but I just have general interest in it. And I
And
think that when you're, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I'm also sure that no matter where you go, you're probably going to start with those general classes and you can always go from there too. Like, I know one of my first classes was kind of an overview of everything, and they brought in speakers of like some of the other computer science majors, in that college. So that was, you'll always hear about different things. So if you don't know 100%, I think that's definitely fine, at least in my field. Um,
I'd say
I'm
that
sure
in a
I'll touch
lot
on
of
that.
fields too, because I know like I started out in biomedical engineering there. In the beginning, we had a lot of speakers in the beginning, kind of talking about different avenues of career opportunities that you could go into that. And I think
Hmm.
that that's a good thing that colleges do, especially to like freshman classes and then seminars like that, where you really get an overview to see like, oh, I was interested in this. Now let's actually see what it would be like to do this as a job for like a professional career.
Hmm.
So I think that like it's really nice way for you to just kind of see, oh, I've always been interested in this. Let's see if I actually want to pursue this now.
Yeah.
So what's life like as a student in computer science?
That's tough because uh, I don't know what other people have said, but I'm definitely worried to say something and have it be different for someone else at a different college. So I guess for me, what my personal kind of student life is like is I'm definitely taking a lot of math, definitely taking a lot of science. I don't know if the science would be in other colleges, but anyway. And then I'm taking some computer science courses, and those pretty they range in the beginning, but I do get more specific. So kind of what I do now for a student is I'm basically going to class. There's a lot of group projects, a lot of group coding, and homework is kind of more long term because you can't really fill out a worksheet for things. So you're really just doing long term kind of coding projects, I guess. Um, and if there is a homework, then chances are it's still just more coding, doing some kind of uh, like a prototype kind of, I guess, mocking up
Okay.
something or
Yeah.
things like that.
I know you talked about it a little bit, but like, would you say that a lot of the work you do is group based and collaborative, is there, or is a lot of it more like independent? You're kind of doing it on your own.
There's the, I'm sure this depends on the teacher again, but I think there's maybe some homework, sure, but I would definitely say there's more long-term projects where you're either encouraged to collaborate with other people and see what other people are doing, or you are actually working on some kind of long-term project.
Okay.
I'm trying,
Yeah.
like, I feel like honestly, in every single class, I've had a long-term project at some point, at least at the end.
That makes sense though too. So I guess just moving on from that, what's something that you wish you knew about this major before you applied to it and started taking classes in it?
Yeah. For me, I think the math has definitely been, sure, I'll say interesting, but definitely not what I kind of signed up for. Because personally, I haven't found it useful in some of my other classes where I've been doing coding, and even on my one job that I actually, was coding, um, I didn't find the math helpful. Yet we're still taking enough math. So I guess that's something that I kind of wish I knew before applying. I'm not sure if other majors are different, but I know for me at least, it's math, and not just math classes, but also in CS classes, you'll probably be doing things with math and judging, how long programs take and doing that kind of theoretical stuff too.
So you're using
Um,
a lot of applications, I guess, of like the concepts that you're learning in these math
yeah,
classes.
it so far, yeah, those are definitely in the classes. But I wish I knew that that was what I was signing up for. Um, so, oh
hmm
well.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that's good to know ahead of time because, at least for me, if I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to go into computer science, math probably wouldn't be the first thing that would come to mind as like an important thing that I should know. I would probably be thinking
I
of more like technology, hardware, things like that.
mhm. I was just about to say that it again. I feel bad for saying this over and over again, but again, I'm sure it varies. But I know for me, there's a lot of self learning, and it's a lot of, oh, when you go into this, you're kind of expected, if you don't already know this programming language, to kind of learn it on your own. Hardware and things like that, they'll teach. But in terms of coding, you're definitely going to have to be looking stuff up on your own and learning on your own for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, and that seems important too, especially in CS, because it seems like that's really a major where you have to be like a self-starter, not someone who can kind of motivate themselves. And I think that that's a really good quality to have in any major, but I think it's especially imperative to have if you are in CS. So what are some career options that are available for students in CS? You know, you always hear about just general software developers, programmers, things like that, but like what are some other fields, I guess, that you can go into, some other offshoots of what a student can do if they have a degree in computer science?
Okay, I'll say that I've only worked one internship at, you know, that where I actually applied what I've been learning in terms of programming. But I can pretty much say that there are so many options. I've heard stories about people getting CS jobs at law firms. You know what I mean? Where you wouldn't expect to use programming there, but everyone kind of needs people to help them build software that would make their business run more efficiently. So I worked at a financial company, so you would kind of expect math there, with all the numbers. But things like I've heard law firms, um, there's the big ones like the tech companies, Google, and things like that. But I think there are so many other options. Um, I saw a listing for uh, a health company. You know, you won't be like on the floor helping patients or anything like that at a hospital, but you'll definitely be. There's always people looking for those jobs.
Hmm. I think it's also kind of important to note, just I guess going back to what's life like as a student in this major, that a lot of clubs and activities too are also looking for kind of people in leadership positions that are specifically focused on computer science or computer science related fields.
Mhm.
Like I know for you, one of your clubs, if you want to talk a little bit about that, I don't want to steal your thunder, but
Yeah, one of my clubs was working on a newspaper, and again, you would think that would be just a physical paper thing, but you have to remember there's websites and there's ways, um, you're not physically writing on the newspaper, you're working on a software, and there's a whole background to that of um, collaboration, like making sure everyone can edit the stories and making sure it gets posted to the right spot and moving it to the printing company. So I can give you countless examples, but it really comes down to just keep your eyes open because you could find a job in so many places. And if anything, you could probably help a company by even suggesting, like, oh, here's my idea for your company. You know what I mean? You could probably
Mhm.
invent your own job. Um, and there was something else I was going to say, but it's totally eluding me. Oh, I was going to say if you do join a company, um, I feel like for us CS majors, maybe it's the same for other people, but I feel like the mobility to do other things is very high. So, like, if I went in for data science and I was working with data and I absolutely hated it, I feel like, again, there's so much need for people that even having that data science background will be enough for them to say, oh, why not try this other job that we need? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It seems like, I guess, with all these options that are available to CS majors, what's next for you in terms of what you want to do after graduation or things like that?
I think that's definitely tough to answer, and I'm sure a lot of people struggle with this too. Um, I'm sure in your other majors, even though maybe you're going to work at a hospital, it's still tough to figure out where you're going to go and things like that. So I know for me, what's next is just kind of going through school and I think figuring that out and really taking advantage of those classes now to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life, which I think is kind of the point of college. Maybe get that grade, sure, and set yourself up to be in a good position, but also just do it for you too to figure out what you want to do because there is again so much to do.
Hmm. No, definitely. I was talking about that with Anna last week, and she was just kind of saying that, like, sure, it's important to maybe choose a major that kind of matches your interests and things that you like to do, but it's equally, or if not more important, that while you're in college, especially these kind of more specific upper level classes, to really hone in on these specific skills and see if, oh, is this the specific career in this field that I want to go into, or something different than that?
I also feel like there's a ton of environments too, not just you know, like positions in terms of work you'd be doing. There's like, you could be in a cubicle, but you can also be working on a huge project in a collaborative company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's also like there's tons to keep in mind.
Mhm. Yeah, it really seems like so far all of the majors that I've talked about with all of the people that I've had on the show are all really interesting. But it seems like this one especially, like you were saying, it has that mobility that allows you to really hop around from one thing to another. Because if you can successfully complete a computer science degree, at least to the best of my knowledge, it really seems like you're set for really any job related to technology, hardware, software, things like that.
I feel bad saying this. I feel like I'm really talking it up, but um, you know, definitely only do it though if you're interested. And
Yeah,
uh,
I think that's the same for everyone.
yeah,
Really, at the end of the day, you can look at mobility, money, things like that. But also, if you're not interested, it's not worth it.
yeah. Even though you'll have all those options, if you're not interested, it'll be so difficult.
hmm Yeah, definitely. It's all about what you're interested in and just kind of figuring out for yourself if this is what you actually want to do.
Kind of the point of this offshoot show you're doing, right? To
Yeah,
kind of help people figure out what they would want to do.
hmm
And I
definitely.
know for me as a programmer, I just kind of like the problem solving. So that's what I would say. Um, that's my pitch, I guess. If you want to do art major.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was great talking to you today about
Yeah,
computer science as a whole. I was able to learn a lot myself, even though I've known you in this major for a little bit now. Um, like I said before, be sure to check out Anna, Evan, and my podcast, I Feel Like. You can find our website in the description below that will link you to all of the I Feel Like productions. And Evan, thank you so much for coming on today.
yeah. Thank you.
That was an inside scoop into the life of a computer science major. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments below or contact us via our website. The link can be found in the description. Thank you for watching this episode of Inside Scoop. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our new releases. New episodes of Inside Scoop will be available every Friday. Also, be sure to check out other content from I Feel Like Learning as well as all the other I Feel Like productions. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep staying informed, and keep on learning.